council meeting, City of North Miami. Yeah, Chair, it's past 7. So we ready for roll call?
Mayor Joseph,
Here.
Councilman Galvin,
Here.
Councilwoman Keys, Vice Mayor Bieneme,
Here.
Councilman Zume. Mayor, we have a quorum to proceed.
All right. Next, we're gonna stand and have a pledge of allegiance directed by Officer Duhamel Janet, and he will also lead us in invocation thereafter.
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Please stand for the invocation. Bow your head, please. Lord Jesus Christ, please guide the council chambers. Bless the council and the mayor and the council chamber members, the city employees. We ask you to put wisdom in their heads so they can make the right decision for the city. And today and forward, that they have patience, understanding, and tolerance. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Manager, any additions or deletions to the agenda?
None at this time, sir.
Okay, there is no special presentation. City announcement?
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, North Miami neighbors, and guests. I'm Unicia Baker, Senior Public Information Officer, and I'm here to share some of our city's upcoming events, programs, and initiatives with you. You're invited to attend the Neighborhood Workshop to discuss North Miami administrative variance process and propose revisions on the rescheduled date of Thursday, April 4th, 2019 at 6 p.m. here in the North Miami Council Chamber. The North Miami general election is around the corner. Early voting is April 29th through May 12th at the North Miami Public Library. Election day is Tuesday, May 14th. Elections are administered by the Miami-Dade County Elections Department in partnership with the North Miami Office of the City Clerk. For more information, visit northmiamifl.gov/election. Opportunity zones provide tax incentives to private investors that will spur private development in Miami-Dade County. On Monday, April 8th at 9 a.m., Vice Mayor Philippe Bieneme urges North Miami residents to attend the Miami-Dade County Opportunity Zone Conference and Marketplace. Register at madison-street.com/OZ events. The next Coffee with Code is scheduled for Wednesday, April 10th at 6 p.m. at Mimo's Mozzarella. It's located at 475 Northeast 123rd Street. Meet your neighborhood code compliance officers, the Clean City Task Force, and the Know Me neighbors while enjoying coffee and pastries, compliments of Mimo's. Thursday, April 11th, join Mayor Smith Joseph's next Junior Council meeting here in the North Miami Council Chamber. Witness local college and high school students gain hands-on exploration of leadership development and civic engagement. Saturday, April 6th at 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., join the North Miami Police Department for the 2019 Fact Festival. This free community policing event builds community relations between local law enforcement and residents. It also has family activities, games, giveaways, station tours, local community resources, free food, and meetings with your favorite Miami Dolphins players. So to learn more, call 305-899-2626 for details. North Miami Mayor Dr. Smith Joseph will host the 2019 reverse raffle to benefit the Police Athletic League of North Miami. For a cost of $150 per ticket, get a buffet dinner for two, an open bar, and one raffle entry. Announcements take place on Saturday, April 26th at 6 p.m. at the Joe Celestine Center, and there will be 11 $500 winners, 3 $1,000 winners, and 1 $10,000 winner. Purchase tickets on Eventbrite now. Saturday, April 27th at 8 p.m. at Ben Franklin Park, join Councilwoman Carol Keys Esquire and Stonyfield at the 2019 Green Awareness Fair and Recycling event. This event features environmentally conscious businesses and organizations, free paper shredding, electronic waste disposal services, green awareness demonstrations, plus opportunities to learn volunteer hours through simultaneous community cleanup events. All ages are welcome. Bus transportation is available to cleanup locations. Volunteers may register today at northmiamifl.gov/celebrate. Need help filing your taxes? The AARP Foundation provides free tax preparation for low and moderate income taxpayers and seniors at the North Miami Public Library every Thursday from 10:30 a.m. until 2:30 p.m. Assistance will be available until April 15th. The North Miami Education Foundation scholarship applications are now being accepted. The deadline is April 19th. The foundation awards scholarships to applicants who are North Miami residents who are also economically disadvantaged high school graduates. Applications are available at northmiamifl.gov/students. Stay up to date with the latest happenings in our city by visiting www.northmiamifl.gov, then clicking the Connect with NOMI icon on the homepage where you can sign up to receive our monthly NOMI newsletter. Residents may also like the City of North Miami on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This concludes today's announcements.
Okay. Before we go forward, there is, I did note to the manager that there was a statement that I wanted to put in on the record. It's pretty much a statement addressed to the manager, Larry Spring. I wanted to do it here and not behind the closed door because I wanted it to be on the record. Pretty much about the last meeting that we had, the following day I trusted my assistant, Miss Alberta Maturin, to contact the city attorney because there are two resolutions that I wanted to have on the agenda. So, of course, our city attorney Jeff Caso was contacted by Miss Maturin about the resolutions, but it had come to me that a few days thereafter that Miss Maturin was contacted by other members saying that this is not the way it's supposed to be. So and it wasn't just to convey that message, but it was the tone and the chain of reactions and the chains of actions that occurred, after that. As a mayor and any of the council members, as a matter of fact, can for years, that I've been here, we can either, if we have any resolution we want to put on the agenda, my recollection is that we can either go, call the manager or call the city attorney. Pretty much that behavior is not, I don't consider it to be productive because as a result of the change of reaction that occurred, negative reaction, I should say, on the part of the staff from the manager's office, led to Miss Maturin having to take a day off yesterday because of stress because of the negative stress that she had to put up with. So I'm pretty much it is not uncommon. It's pretty much common knowledge that there is a parochial culture in this administration, in the city. So I want this pretty much to really stop because I know that there are some staff members that they tend to cater and be cordial only to those who are part of their circle. So this cannot be continued if we really want to have a productive city. There are a lot of times that people tend to want to spend more time and energy to sabotage or boycott other things rather than doing things that could be more productive to the city. And as a result, a lot of projects or things that we have to do in the city, they either take too long to even happen or even made it to fruition. A lot of times they don't even make it to fruition. Again, Mr. Manager, I am letting you know that Mrs. Maturin does not act on by herself. She responds to she follows my commands. She follows my orders, and whatever I ask her to do, that's what she does. So if Miss Maturins ask or try to convey some of my orders to any of the department, anybody who's not pleased to it should come, directly to me, not to her, or not try to harass her and make her feel like an outsider, like very uncomfortable. When somebody is coming to work, and at my private office, I always try to make it a very good environment so that they can feel good coming to work, but they don't feel like they're gonna come to a place where they're gonna be harassed, all the time. And it's obvious that there is a lot of weaknesses in this administration. There is kind of a gang-like atmosphere in most of the departments. Mostly, I can say a few, like Parks and Recs, for example, Public Works. It's just a gang-like culture. It's a gang-like attitude, and if you're not part of the gang, then they try to make it like hell for you. I know that I'm leaving in 2 months, but by the time I leave or after I leave, I would like to be the city of North Miami, to be a city that people would like to come to work, but not a place that they would try to get away from because people who are in certain position try to make it difficult for them. So I hope that this statement that I'm making now, that it doesn't put anybody or in the administration to try to take any retaliatory action against Miss Maturin, because if that becomes so, I will see to it that she gets the best legal representation, and yeah, I will make sure that she gets the best legal representation because of the statement that I am making. I want her to come to work and feel like she's coming to a productive place, a place where she can laugh if she has to, but not a place that is very adversarial, that is very parochial. We need to stop this parochial, attitude in this city of North Miami. Otherwise, as a matter of fact, I do have some directives. I would like to see some kind of internal investigation in all of the departments, and especially in Parks and Recs and Public Works and any other department. And I don't know if any members on the dais want to join me on that endeavor to see to it that, especially hiring procedures, firing procedures, if all people are treated equally when it gets time for them to get a raise, if we want to make sure that people are treated equally, there is no discrimination whatsoever. I don't care whether somebody is white, black, yellow, Hispanics, wherever, whatever creed or religion that they are from, they should not be treated differently because he or she is not part of the circle or not part of the gang. This ends the end of my statement. Now we need a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the consent agenda. That motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Bieneme. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed with a 4-0 vote. Tab E. Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager to issue purchase orders to Axon Enterprise, Inc. as the sole source manufacturer of Taser 7 conducted electronic weapons in accordance with Section 7-143 of the City Code of Ordinance at a cost not to exceed $392,800 $68 over a 5-year period, providing for an effective date and for all of the purposes. That was tab E.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. For the record, Alberto Estrada, Purchasing Director. The item that you have before you under tab E is staff's recommendation for your approval of a sole source award to Axon Enterprise, Inc. for the purchase of 120 TASER 7 CEW models for use by the North Miami Police Department at a not-to-exceed amount of $392,868 over a 5-year period. In order to be able to upgrade our police department's current inventory of older model tasers, Axon has offered the city an opportunity to replace these older models with the new generation TASER 7 models, and also has offered the city a significant discounted price for this purchase. As part of the overall purchase, Axon will include the replenishment of cartridges and batteries at no additional cost to the city. In addition, officer training, certification program, web-based services, and product warranties. These newer models have been redesigned by Axon to be more efficient and should allow our police department to benefit from improved technology and should help to enhance the efficiency of our officers. Axon is the sole manufacturer for TASER brand conducted electrical weapons, which are CEWs, and for Axon brand products. Moreover, TASER is also, Axon is also the sole distributor of all Axon brand products within the United States and within the state of Florida. Therefore, in accordance with Section 7143 of the city's procurement code, staff recommends your approval of this sole source award to Axon as further described in the council report. Here with me also in support of this item from the North Miami Police Department is our police chief, Mr. Larry Juriga, along with Mr. Jorge Manresa, police administrator, and Sergeant Ernesto Reyes, who is the master instructor for the police department's officer TASER training. This concludes my presentation of this item, and if you have any questions, we'll be glad to take them.
No, I'm good. No, I'm good. If there is no no more, this time we'll open it to the public. Is it tab E, right?
Correct.
Yes.
E as in Easter.
Yes.
The item is open to the public for anyone who wishes to be heard. See none, hear none. Public hearing is closed. Members of the council.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Keys to approve tab E. The motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed with a 4-0 vote. Tab F, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, ratifying the city manager's emergency procurement and issuance of a purchase order to TV Diversify LLC in the amount not to exceed $150,000 for emergency manhole repairs, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Once again, Mr. Mayor, council members, the item that you have before you under tab F is simply staff's request for your ratification and approval of the city manager's issuance of an emergency purchase order to TV Diversified LLC to perform the necessary repairs to a manhole located at the intersection of Northwest 127th Street and Northwest 11th Avenue for an amount not to exceed $150,000. As described in the council report that was submitted in support of the item, a large portion of the city's sanitary sewer gravity system is located within a Miami-Dade County well-field protection area. Consequently, the city is subject to and must comply with the applicable county regulatory ordinances and requirements with respect to the existing conditions and maintenance of its sanitary sewer system infrastructure. As part of its ongoing effort to inspect and maintain the city's infrastructure, our public works staff determined that the aforementioned manhole was in need of immediate repairs and that it posed a potential danger to nearby residents and properties. Therefore, in order to expedite these repairs, the staff reached out to 3 vendors with extensive experience in performing this type of work and solicited quotes to make the necessary repairs. Based on the quotes that were submitted by these vendors, the lowest price was submitted by TV Diversified. As a result, in accordance with Section 7144 of the city's procurement code, The city manager approves staff's request for issuance of a purchase order to TV Diversified to commence the necessary emergency repairs. The item before you is simply requesting your ratification of this purchase order. Here with me in support of the item is the city's Public Works Director, Mr. Whistler Pierre Lewis. And this concludes my presentation of the item. If you have any questions, we'll be glad to take them.
Mr. Director is here. We'll open it to the public again. Public hearing is open on item F as in Frank. Public hearing is open, but I see no one here, none. Public hearing is closed. Public hearing is closed. If any further discussions or we need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve tab F. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed with a 4-0 vote. Tab G.
Thank you.
Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, co-designating a portion of Northwest 125th Street from Northwest 7th Avenue to Northwest 17th Avenue to be known as Joseph Emmanuel Charlemagne Way. Charlemagne Way. Authorizing the city manager to allocate and expend the required funds to cover the cost for signage and to do all things necessary to effectuate the co-designation, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. Item returned. That's the tab G.
Tab G, well, this is an item that is sponsored as the council remember. This item came here before, about a year ago, and ever since it came and it failed, so a lot of the stakeholders and community builders, they keep coming to me. They say, Doc, before you leave, can you bring this again before the council and before the people to see whether or not that we could leave the name of this big giant who actually has been very instrumental in the Haitian culture. This is a city where a good percentage of it happens to be Haitian, and a lot of the people have actually benefited from his actions. So that's why I'm bringing it back, and with the hope that the council will go along with it. So with that, tab G is open for public hearing for anyone who wishes to be heard on it.
Good evening. Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street. I live in this strip that's being referred to here and vehemently object to the street being renamed. When this came up before, it was described that this person lived in some other area of North Miami, and I requested that the street he lived on, let that street be that name. But it's no way related to Northwest 125th Street. And council, I'm asking you please not to change the name of the street I live on to this person's name. Thank you. There's no input. There was no input for the community on this item. No input. None. Thank you.
Thank you.
Charles, 245 Northwest 124th Street, North Miami, Florida, 33168. And I'm here to support the name of Manu Sharma, 125th Street, to please Mayor and Council to vote for it and to vote yes to support that, to name 125th Street Manu Sharma in them. Thank you.
Good evening, Judy Brown, 1100 Northwest 128 Terrace. This has come up before, and I really think that we could find other people to name this stretch of street after. I really don't know this gentleman. I've lived there for 40 years. I don't know if it's some historical figure or some poet or someone who's contributed history. But I think that we could actually find people that are relevant or people who live in the neighborhood to name the stretch of road after. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Odette Luben. I'm living 537 Northeast 132nd Street and District 3. Though Mr. Mayor, Dr. Smith Joseph, and Mr. City Manager, that's not your fault. That's not your fault too, Mr. Mayor. I will continue to praise for you. You know what you did for me. So I'm called maybe 25 times. No, somebody lied to me when I meet somebody. I'm a fiscal the window. They say big lie to me. You see, when people too be mayor, be cousin, all my children.
Is it about the what?
So
Is it about the house repair again?
yes, they broke my window and they make a plywood.
But this
and
item is
they
different.
never do that. I'm called 25 times. Nobody come in to see my house fiscal for me. Lie to me every day. That's why we see for my vote. 6 children and plus me.
Whom did we refer her to last time? What happened? Well, we're not gonna go into what happened because we can't discuss.
I'll briefly say
Oh.
that we do have an email. I did follow up with the community planning development staff in Mrs. Odette's case, and it was determined that she did receive funding at the time. Right now, we do have, of course, our list of people is full. Our list is always full of people for help. So there is no funding available right now to do the additional repairs. I do say additional repairs because she wants additional stuff done. There was
How much did you
done
spend so
outside.
far?
She did 10,000. We spent $10,000 on her
50
home.
window, 20 window, plus the fix. I'm living District 3 since 1989. I was best task and water.
If I can translate,
They
let-
fiscal for me, lie to me.
do you want me to translate what? Est-ce que vous voulez traduire ça qu'il fait
Yes,
dire,
Mr.
ou bien est-ce que vous
Yes,
comprenez?
Mr. Mayor, please.
In English.
Hein? Yeah. Ok. Et so, est-ce que vous comprenez ça qu'il fait dire là?
But fin tande mo,
No, she didn't understand. Non, on va carrer le comme ça là pendant la réunion là. Ça que le doute c'est que actuellement là nous pas de fonds et pour aider
translate for the
pour
mayor.
type 1.
I'm translating for you, Mayor. He said, the mayor's telling her, as of now, Duke said that we don't have funds.
We don't have funds for this kind of programs. Oh, yeah, nous pas de fonds pour qualité programme ça là.
We don't have any funds for the
Dr. Smith.
program you
Ça
want.
que nous
right
pourrons
now.
faire la coulia et m'pral chita avec monsieur Sori
What I'm going to
tomorrow.
do now, I'm going to talk to Mr. Duke Sorry tomorrow.
Pour voir si gagne quelques autres programmes qu'on capable bénéficier dans eux pour capable aider eux parce que nous connaissons besoin.
To see if there's any additional programs that you can use to help you.
Okay.
How much did we spend already?
Okay, ou gen moi-même là n'a pas agi sur ça et puis les filles nous gen ou gen vice mayor bien aimé n'a pas agi sur ça n'a pas le checker pour nous qui ça gagne pour assurer que vous bénéficiez de lui. Okay. We're gonna act on it. Ok, n'a pas checké ça, n'a make sure nous faisons apprêtement avec vous. Mais actuellement là, at this time we are discussing the item G as in God. It's the decision for the city of North Miami not to rename, but to also name a 125th Street from the west side of 7th Avenue all the way to 17th Avenue. That's the item we have right now.
For the record, my
Thank you very
translation
much.
was the best that I can do. Don't hold me to it. It was the best.
Not checké sur ça. Okay, thank you. And before we continue, I would like to, when we talk about Mr. Manu Shalmain not being relevant, Mr. Shalmain is way more relevant than a lot of people that we think are actually relevant. He was actually honored by the city of Miami Beach, and they did name one of the streets, after him. And there is no Haitian community in Miami Beach, and we do have a Haitian community here in North Miami. So he is relevant.
My name is Colleen Paul, 12215 Northwest Miami Court. Mr. Mayor, for those who, and member of the council, for those of you who do not know how important this gentleman here is, I come in support to naming a street after him. He has been a pioneer in the Haitian American community, and like the mayor said, he has been recognized in the city of Miami Beach, that is not a Haitian American community. For the work he's done, for the militants that he has put forward, I will love to see his name in the street called 125th with his name on it. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open, but seeing none, hearing none, public hearing is closed. The item is for discussion on the dais now.
Can I say something, Mr. Mayor? And I think Mando Charlemagne, that's the real name, Joseph Emmanuel Charlemagne. He was a civil rights activist fighting for freedom, not just for here, not just for Haiti, but he's been fighting for freedom, for the liberation of Nelson Mandela. He was a black activist, and he just happened to be Haitian. It will be a disgrace for me, Mano Charlemagne, that I know, if I was sitting on the dais and vote against him, against the fact that a name will be called after him. I support the item, Mr. Mayor, and I thank you for bringing this back. If you didn't do it, I will have to do it because I knew Mano Charlemagne, and I know his fight wasn't just for Haitian, it was for black people. He was fighting for freedom. And I remember in the 70s, in the 80s, he was fighting on 79 for people like us to be able to live in this great and beautiful country. And I applaud you for that, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
This was voted on back in May of 2018. I know the councilman of District 3 did not vote for this.
No, you said District 3. I was not here.
I'm sorry, District 4. I'm sorry, District 4. And this is in District 4. We have residents here who are really speaking against it. I would rather not name a street in someone else's district when they're not here to hear what they have to say. I would like not to be gone and someone all of a sudden, name a street in my district. I also think we should be naming streets for people who are relevant to North Miami, who are known in North Miami. So unless I can hear from Councilman DeSulmi, who's already voted against it, I can't really support it tonight.
Mr. Galvin, do you have any comments?
Do we know why Councilman DeSulme is not here this evening?
No, he just told us that he would not be available this evening.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion to approve this this item.
And I second.
I have a motion made by Mayor Smith Joseph to approve tab G. The motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Philip Bieneme. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Item passed with a 3-1 vote. Tab H, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager and city attorney to negotiate and execute an agreement with the North Miami Education Foundation for provision of services related to the proposed mayor's internship program authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to implement said agreement on behalf of the city, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. That was tab H.
Also, this is an item sponsored by me. I came back with it because with some major changes. If you remember correctly, the main problem with it was the actual non-profit organization that was chosen, that was seen as a newly opened non-profit, and people were not, too comfortable, going along with it. So I made that change where this is going to be this program, this internship program, which is so badly needed, and I guess I will explain again the reason I came up with it is because in my office, whether in my office here or at my medical office, I have patients, coming to my office with their, young, daughter or son without a job. They graduate from high school. They're either freshmen in college or sophomore, and they just want a little job. Not just the job for the stipends in the pockets, but I think the exposure to the professional world would be paramount to these kids. That's one of the things that I wish I had when I was their age. In college, trying to, find, my swagger, in the professional arena. So I think it's a good program for kids, coming out, especially for kids in the city of North Miami. If you will remember clearly, when I first came into North Miami, the unemployment rate was, I think, up to 9%, if I'm not mistaken. Now we've done such a great job bringing it to, I think it's less than 6% at this time. So this would be one more tool that we would use to show Miami-Dade County and to show people that we do care about our generation that is coming after us. We have to embrace them. We have to do whatever we can to see to it that they on the right path. And like I said, the exposure, because these are kids that are going to be paired with professionals, engineers, teachers, lawyers, and doctors and so forth. Whatever profession there is out there, we're going to try to pair these kids for them to see what's awaiting them and so that they can be better prepared. With that, I will open it to the public for public hearing. Item H, as in Harry, is open for anyone who wishes to be heard. Please come to the mic, but I see no one coming. No one. Hear none, so public hearing is closed. We're back to the dais for discussions and approval.
Now, Mr. Mayor, the program will be administered by the North Miami Education Foundation, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Along with with the manager's office.
Okay.
Yeah.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Keys to approve tab H. The motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Bieneme. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed with a 4-0 vote. Tab I. Proposed ordinance, second reading of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, amending Chapter 11 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances entitled Licenses and Business Regulations to establish Article 11, Controlled Residential Parking Areas, limited to those who live in proximity to the zoned area, providing for inclusion in the code of the City of North Miami, and providing for an effective date. That was tab I.
As Mayor and Council, this is the second reading of the ordinance that we introduced last meeting. This ordinance would create the umbrella or framework to allow us to create neighborhood parking areas or residential parking areas. This item was brought up essentially because we had neighbors complaining in various areas of the city about parking in their areas, and also looking forward to some of the projects that we're doing. This would allow either the manager on his own to create an area, or to have the residents come in and petition to have an area created. That would require 51% of the residents to implement it. If it's the residents, if 60% of those individuals in that area do not want it, then you would not have that parking area. Again, this is just the framework. This does not designate any of the areas yet. That would come in later ordinances, and it is notice and requirements as part of all that. So this right now just gives us the power to create those areas, and then in the future you'll have future ordinances that will actually create the areas, and we hope that you'll approve this ordinance.
All right, second reading of tab I as in Irene. Do we have to get, no, they don't have to swear in for this. Okay. Public hearing is open.
Richard Anise, 13030 Northeast 10th Avenue. Not only should we adopt something of this nature in specific areas, but it probably should be citywide. We have ordinances on the books that we don't, they're unenforceable, or there are ones that we don't bother to enforce. Excuse me, as far as parking is concerned. 5 years ago, we said everybody has to have a driveway. Well, not everybody has a driveway, and they still park on the grass, and nobody's cited. We have an ordinance that says you can't put more than 2 vehicles on the swale, and it's unenforceable because you're only going to, if there's 5 vehicles on somebody's swale, who are you going to ticket? You'd have to ticket the homeowner, and who is probably, it's probably 5 Jehovah Witnesses parked there to run the neighborhood, and we can't stop people from parking on our swale, but we're not allowed to put more than 2 vehicles on the swale. This also might help us with single-family residents that have 10 boarders, and they'd have to get the 6 or 7 cars, and they'd all have to get stickers for each car, and then we'd find out how many people are actually living in some of these houses. So anything that we can do to help parking would be a positive. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open.
Good evening, Annie Montgomery, 2082 Laurel Lane. I would like to see something else added to this ordinance, and that is commercial marked vehicles that have their advertising on them not allowed to park on swales or on public property. This is happening in most areas of North Miami, but I have seen it in my neighborhood where you have pet stores, grooming trucks parked on the swale overnight. I'm very much against this, so I would like something to be put in there to control that. Thank you.
Good evening. Edwin Alvarez, 555 Northeast 127th Street, new to the community, and just wanted to voice my support for anything that will help parking. I do have some added items that I wanted to talk at the open forum that's related to this. I don't know if I should just, I guess I can wait for that, but it's
Well, if it's related to it, you can.
I'm sorry, speak now?
If it's related to this item, yes.
So my item is related to the parking on my street as the overflow from red, white, and blue. And so as it relates to everything that happens for people looking for parking every which way, however which way, how many cars. I personally planted city permitted plants on my swale to protect them. They're doing really well, but I've had to fight that. But needless to say, there is what's happening now, horizontal parking, that people park across from red, white, and blue, so they park literally on the sidewalk. I saw an elderly lady the other day practically get over a car because she couldn't get on the sidewalk, walked on the street, and there was all of this commotion. So anything that we can do to please help. The last piece is signage. Any signage that we could add right there indicating that we cannot park vertically on the sidewalk. I know code officers have been out, but I don't think there's education enough for people to know right away that they cannot park in that manner. It's a cultural thing that they park that way. So, thank you.
Judy Brown, 1100 Northwest 128 Terrace. I'm also in agreement with this because there's a problem citywide with parking. And we have ordinance on the books, but like everybody said, they're not enforced. And Sunkist Grove, we have a problem with commercial vehicles parking on city swells, for cars parking in front of the front yard. parking, inward instead of parking the correct way. So parking is a problem throughout our city. So anything that can be done to help, and let this be citywide, because we're having problems throughout the city. Thank you.
Public hearing is now closed. Members of the council? Tab I.
Yes, just want to address a couple items. With regard to the red, white, and blue, thank you for bringing that up, and we'll look into that. We were just addressing it yesterday. The cleanup around the area, did not realize there was a parking issue, so we'll go out there and see what we can do to make sure that it's enforced. Okay. And again, we're having an administrative variance workshop on April 4th. We will be talking about trailers, boats, hopefully commercial vehicles. So Ms. Brown, please come to that. We've got a whole ball of wax on that. And thank you for supporting this, and I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Keys to approve tab I. That motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. Mayor Joseph, how do you vote?
Yay.
Councilman Galvin?
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bieneme?
Yes.
Item passed with a 4-0 vote.
Thank you, council members, for your support.
Tab J, proposed ordinance, first reading of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, providing for a text amendment to Chapter 29 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances by amending Article 4, Division 2, entitled Zoning Districts, specifically at Section 4-202, entitled Types of Uses, to require a special exception approval for pharmacies, providing for repeal, conflicts, severability, correction of Scrivener's errors, codification, and for an effective date.
Thank you. For the record, Tanya Wilson with the Community Planning and Development Department. This ordinance is a first reading, a request for an amendment to Section 4-202 of the city's land development regulations. This is a list of permitted use, and the request is seeking to amend the regulations for new pharmacies that are requesting construction within the city. Currently, the pharmacies have two different regulations. If there's actually a drive-through, it requires special exception approval. That item would have to go before the Board of Adjustment. However, if there's no drive-through, it's as of right, just a permitted use. Based on Florida law, Florida Statute 381, it now requires that if there's a medical marijuana dispensary, that use has to be treated exactly the same as a pharmacy use. In our code, medical marijuana dispensaries require a special exception use. So if there's a request made, it goes before the Board of Adjustment. However, as I mentioned before, the pharmacies are on two different regulations. So staff believes that there's an inconsistency in the code. We've spoken to the legal department. We're requesting then that that amendment be made so that all pharmacies would go through a special exception experience, and that would comport then with the medical marijuana requirement that we currently have in our code. If approved tonight, we believe that it will make the land development regulations whole, where now you have that inconsistency in our code. So staff is asking for approval of the ordinance at this time.
I'm a little bit confused. Can you go over that? What will the medicinal marijuana places not need that the pharmacy will need? I mean, I don't.
So currently, medical marijuana, they're a special exception use. So they would have to go through the Board of Adjustment.
To the Board of Adjustment.
Correct.
But
However,
pharmacies
pharmacies
don't.
have two different requirements. On one requirement, if there's a drive-through, they have to go through the special exception experience through the Board of Adjustment. If they have no drive-through, it's just permitted as of right.
Okay. I guess at this time we'll open it to the public. The public is welcome to opine on this item, item J as in Joseph. Item is open for public hearing, but I see none. I don't know if Mr. Charlie is coming to the mic or not. Public hearing is therefore closed.
Mr. Mayor, I saved my voice all night for this one. I have a disagreement with staff. Currently, pharmacies are allowed. we don't have them come to us for any special exceptions. When the law says we should treat medical marijuana locations like pharmacies, I think we should make it so that they don't need any special exceptions either. By doing it the other way and suddenly making all pharmacies come to us for special exceptions, I mean, are we really going to tell Walgreens or Publix they can't open a pharmacy? We're creating more work for ourselves, I believe, by doing it in this regard. If we're going to treat pharmacies and medical marijuana stores the same, let's treat them as we treat them now, or treat them as we treat pharmacies now. That's no special exception. If you want to keep the special exception in place for a drive-through window, we could talk about that. But it's opening a can of worms to now bring them all back for special exceptions. We're going to debate medical marijuana versus pharmacies versus Publix. It's just too much. I think it'd be simpler to change the wording on this.
So we had this conversation before, and Councilman, you're absolutely right. So really the decision you all have to make is, if a pharmacy or a marijuana dispensary is coming to you with a drive-through, do you want them to have a special exception or not? If you don't, then you can just say there's no special exceptions for anyone. But understand, if you make that change, that means if someone, Walgreens or anybody else, wants to put a pharmacy or a marijuana dispensary and they have a drive-through, they get to just do that. So that's the decision you're making
My
today.
voice I'm not making myself clear. Right now, if somebody wants to open a standalone pharmacy with no drive-through,
No special exception required.
so I'm looking to do the same for medical marijuana dispensaries. If it's a standalone, no drive-through, just like we're supposed to treat it like a pharmacy, just let them open it.
So then what we're doing then is saying, if it's whether it's a drive-through or a marijuana dispensary, no drive-through, no special exceptions, they can build it as of right.
Yeah.
If either has a drive-through, then you want a special exception. You can do that too.
That's when we need
That's
the
fine.
law.
That would make it.
Drive-through,
That's
yeah.
when right now we.
That would make it consistent with the law.
So do we need
That's when
to
we need
change
to
the
treat
wording
them.
here?
Well, this is first reading, so if you make that change now, second reading, we'll bring it back to you with,
Okay.
with the change.
Do I have a motion to approve with amendments as stated by Scott Galvin and the city attorney?
So moved.
Was there a
second
movement?
Okay.
That's been-
Right
Right now, you're gonna treat them the same, right? The pharmacy and the
Yeah.
medical. Okay.
Except, for drive-through.
If they have a drive-through. Yeah.
So I'll make a motion that we amend the language for second reading, but approve this on first reading tonight with the intent that we treat standalone pharmacies and medical marijuana dispensaries the same, standalone.
Without needing a special exception.
Correct.
If
No
there's
special
a drive-through.
If there's no
we will-
drive-through, if
yeah.
it's just a standalone facility.
And do you still second that motion, Vice Mayor Bieneme?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin as stated on the record. That motion with the amendment was seconded by Vice Mayor Bieneme. Vice Mayor Bieneme, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Joseph?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Keys?
Yes.
And Councilman Galvin?
Yes.
Item J was approved with amendments as stated on the record. And that's it for me, Mayor.
Thank you. We have no quasi-judicial items. Citizen forum is now open to anyone who wants to be heard. This is the time for your 2 minutes. Anyone who wishes to be heard, this is the time.
Hello. My name is Eileen DeCava, and my address is 13350 Northeast 3rd Court. This concerns the proposal to build a Wendy's at 13400 Northeast 3rd Court. This is the corner of 135th Street and Northeast 3rd Court. The applicant made a request for a special exception for a drive-through, which was heard in December of 2018. That special exception was denied. According to the code, LDR section 3-702, They had 30 days to apply for an appeal. They did so in early February, and we initially received notice that it would be heard on February the 28th, but then it was never placed on the calendar. I have been trying to find out what's going on. The neighborhood has been trying to find out what's going on. Last week, I was told that it has been moved to June 11th. I was very surprised for a few reasons. Number one, I disagree with this movement to June 11, and here is why. LDR section 3-705 gives an appeal period within which this has to be scheduled. And the title, and please, it is a vague in which the way in which it's written, because it's written as 45 days, which could be interpreted as 45 days to appear on the calendar or 45 days to give them a date. However, based on the title of that section, it means it has to occur within 45 days. So scheduling it in June goes beyond that 45 days, and I disagree. May I finish one more thing? May I finish one more thing?
No, you can't. I'm sorry. Then I have to do it for everybody. If
Okay.
there are 30 people who come in, they have to.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Sorry about that. You can come back next 2 weeks.
Good evening again. Edwin Alvarez. And as I mentioned previously, I'm at 555 Northeast 127th Street. I purchased my home last year in June, and I'm a very happy resident of North Miami. Like many residents on my street, of course, we contend with being next to a commercial street, which is 6th Avenue, trash, and we always have to contend with the parking. The other one we contend with as a result of red, white, and blue is the random shopping carts. And I wanted to understand if there isn't anything that could be communicated to them. I'm in support of the business, and I want business for the community, that could be communicated to them in an effort to avoid people pushing the carts off of the street, off of their property, and leaving them. I understand in conversations with them that they ask people for ID, but I can tell you many, many times I've pushed carts down the street and back into the lot or push them away. So that's a piece that I wanted to ask. And yeah, that's it. Yes.
All right.
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street, Sunkist Grove. This is for the record. Well done, Economic Development Manager Sam Blatt and the North Miami Finance Department on your event doing business in the in City Hall on March the 14th at Randy's Restaurant. It was a tremendous success. Your agenda was logically planned by time and sequence. You masterfully included technology in a well-orchestrated PowerPoint presentation. You made your audience feel comfortable by welcoming questions and answers even a novice could grasp. Your desire to extend transparent assistance to all business entities was apparent, highlighted by the presentation of CRA grants and other grant resources. You announced the location of the new Customer Service Center and informed the audience about media resources. Each department described their role in doing business in NOMI process. Opening a business, zoning, certificate of use, business tax receipt, building permits, liens division, waste pro, and they each had table displays, some with games and specific information to share. Your event was very informative, timely, and the food was great. You are to be congratulated, Mr. Sam Blatt. You represented NOMI at its very best. Thank you. Jessica Alston.
William Previtel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. It's been a little bit of a rough month over at the Mid-Bay Club Apartments. Earlier today, we lost longtime resident William Bill Seltzer. Bill Seltzer was originally started off in the early 60s, just like the TV show Mad Men. He had his own advertising company and and ran it in Manhattan. And we have stories from him of that. And then he and his wife Leslie and their ventures of going off to Studio 54. In recent years, Bill was a professional photographer that documented many of the events here and around North Miami, weddings, bar mitzvahs, and so on, and many of the schools as well. So there are probably a lot of people that, whether they knew him by name, have probably seen him around at the various events. On behalf of the residents of the Mid-Bay Club Apartments, myself, my family, I'd like to extend our condolences to Leslie Seltzer, his loving wife, and his family members. And we've lost, in North Miami, we've lost a fine resident, and I hope our tradition continues of getting good residents in the future and building on the class of people that we have, which is looking better and better every day. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ben Bikaba. I'm the husband of Eileen Bikaba, living at 13350 Northeast 3rd Court. It's concerning the same Wendy's project. Now, you move the Wendy's appeal hearing to the same date as the site plan approval. If the appeal has not been won, how are you scheduling an appeal hearing at the same date as the site plan approval? In other words, you're making the two the same. Don't they have to win the appeal first before you can approve the site? So this is a question I want to put to you, something to consider in terms of being transparent and open to the community, which doesn't approve of this drive-through plan. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Marisol Medina at 1270 Northeast 124th Street. I went to the meeting last night where they talked about the transit and where we're going to work on with that. And I know we're still on the in-between whether it's going to be by FIU or 123rd, although all of the images show it on 123rd, which is great. I wanted to bring to light none of the residents said all of the improvements we've already had on 16th Avenue and the streets and the medians that now we have, the roundabouts, all of that improvement has been done on 123rd's area. Nothing has really been improved over there on 151st. So even more attention to bringing it closer to the city for all of us to be able to utilize. And although 16th is kind of still a scary road to drive on because it's not a complete project when the big things are sticking out of the ground, the roadway, it's kind of a hazard. Hopefully that contractor does a better job when they choose to finish it. Also, I'm very happy with the bike lanes and the space that's being created on 123rd, closer to the highway. It really opens up the space and makes it a safer route for bicyclists, which hopefully there'll be more of us on the road versus vehicles in the future in North Miami because we have so much attraction here with development of new businesses and a lot of people who are moving here who don't want to be in vehicles. They want to live and work and have fun all in the same space. And if you guys don't know about the awesome American, what's it called, the American Warrior America, the course that they have, we have one now in North Miami, close to 151st, where the Denzer collection was. So if you haven't gone there, you should definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. And things like that are coming to our city. So we're a great attraction, leadership and good changes. So thank you guys.
Public forum is now closed. We will go through reports at this time. Anyone on the dais with reports?
Mr. Mayor, I have a report, and today I received some information from the administration about that Wendy's restaurant tried to open the door on 135th Street. From what I understand, the site plan does not include the drive-through. They're gonna ask for the exception whether or not they receive it, they got it or not, we're gonna have a Wendy's there. That means the drive-through not gonna stop them from building the Wendy's at that location. And without the drive-through, they don't need any exception from the city to build it there.
Will they have Angus meat on their menu?
Huh?
Angus.
I don't
As
know.
long as
That's-
they have Angus meat,
I wanna
I'm fine
make
with that.
sure and the residents understand that. If there's a special
Angus meat is
exception,
good.
they're gonna have the drive-through, but if not, we're still gonna have the Wendy's there. And there's nothing that we can do about it. That's mean the discussion is whether or not we wanna a drive-through, a Wendy's with a drive-through, or one without it. I don't know. I'm kind of clear, and from the information that I get from the administration. And secondly, I want to invite everyone, especially vendors, developers, because on April 8, 2019, at FIU, we're gonna have a all-day workshop about the opportunity zone, where you're gonna gather information about the opportunity zone and what is the benefits for the city of North Miami. Is the State Department of Economic Opportunity, Miami-Dade County Office of Commissioner Bovo, the Miami-Dade Beacon Council, and of course, my office is gonna be on April 8, 2019. I encourage everyone to participate. It's gonna be a all day where you're gonna get information about the opportunity zone for Miami-Dade County and get information about the opportunity zone in North Miami. And we're gonna have planning and zoning from the city of North Miami with a presentation, and myself, where we're gonna represent the city of North Miami. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
I would like to invite everybody to our affordable housing workshop. Our planning department is putting it on. Thank you. And we have a lot of people there to help people with questions about buying new houses, fixing up houses, ways to save houses, just all types of questions. So, and we will have some refreshments. So please come Monday night, or tell anybody who is interested in new homes or problems with the affordability. Monday night, Tanya, it's Monday night at the Gwen Margolis. It's at 6 o'clock, I believe. Okay. Also, I'm sponsoring the Green Awareness Fair, April 27th at Benjamin Franklin Park. It's not just a drop-off, but I want to tell you in advance so you can start collecting your e-waste, your recyclables like monitors, keyboards, TVs, phones. Those are things we should not be putting in our garbage and our dumpsters. So please bring those out, no charge. Also, people are always asking whether we won't have the shredder. So bring all your private documents, just dump them in, watch them be shred. They're not going to take them away. So bring your shredding. We won't have, unfortunately, we will not have the paint cans this year. But we have a lot of new green initiatives. Mr. Whistler, I hope we're on board. Are we on board?
Yes, he is.
Okay. We've got new surprise going forward on our green awareness. And we've got some great we've got giveaways. We're giving away trees, plants, a lot of vendors. Stony Field Yogurt will be there. So it's going to be a nice event. So thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'll be quick. I'd like to ask the city attorney for a 30-second summation related to the Wendy's drive-through, their current status to have been put forward into June, and why it is or is not appropriate for them to bring a site plan and a drive-through request forward on the same night, trying to address what the PCABA's referenced.
Again, well, you and I have discussed this. I have no idea why the attorney chose to do what he did. You can ask him. I have my ideas on why he did it, but I don't represent that client. Those are two separate items. So the way we envision it is he's going to go through an appeal before the council first as a separate item. If that item passes, then he goes to the site plan review. The fact is, based on the emails that we've been seeing, it appears that the residents believe that at the Board of Adjustment, that Wendy's was denied altogether. It was not. Well, as Councilman Bieneme just said, what was denied was the ability to put a drive-through. So they will be able to build a Wendy's. That's a decision they have to make whether they do it or not. The only decision the city's making is whether or not they get a drive-through. So there is no conflict between having a site plan review that same night and an appeal that same night. And as far as the date is concerned, everyone needs to understand, especially in legal terms, when there's a date, a deadline, that deadline normally it benefits one party or the other. In this case, the applicant met all the deadlines. They met the deadline to file the appeal. We met our deadline to schedule the appeal. They came to us and said, hey, can we do it on the same night? Typically when attorneys back and forth, if there's a date, if one of my colleagues or they ask, hey, can I have it on a certain date? I have no problem with it because it doesn't benefit the city one way or the other what date that date benefits them. The reason that date, that 45-day date is in the code is to benefit the applicant, because otherwise the city could say, yeah, you just got denied your drive-through, and guess what? You can't have an appeal for 2 years. That's what that 45 days is there for. That 45 days is there to protect the applicant. So if the applicant tells me, hey, listen, I don't want to do it in 45 days, who am I to say when he can have his appeal? And so normally under most circumstances in litigation, this sort of thing, if another lawyer says, hey, I want to move it, and it's to their benefit, that date it actually benefits that client, then there really isn't any issue there.
All right.
And my last thing, I won't be able to join the police and the city staff tomorrow, but I do want to say congratulations to some of our really outstanding North Miami police officers who are going to be retiring. It's like an all-star list right here. Commander Scott Croy, Commander Joe Kissel, Commander Pat McNally, who I went to high school with, Officer Robert Corland, and Officer Bill Raines are all retiring in the next few days. So I congratulate each one of them for a job well done on behalf of this city for decades, each one of them for decades. They have served this city well, and I'm very happy for each of them to be getting out with their youth and their health, because that's the way you want to do it. So congratulations to all 5 of those.
Thank you. I think it's gonna be the first week. Is it the first week, Mr. Joe? First week of next month for the housing and job fair. Is it first week? April 12th? Okay, so that will be, okay, April 12th is our next housing and job fair that we'll be hosting right in the plaza. I think last time we had about 400 people who actually walked through within a 3-hour period. This time we have a lot of big companies. You say there are some new ones, some new ones that are actually stepping into the plate and show the community that they're there. Some of them will be hiring right on the spot, and there will be a lot of training companies that will be recruiting people. And it's going to be, I think we're probably going to reach the past, 500, individuals will be benefiting from all these great services. And second of all, I wanted to thank the council people for actually voting 125th Street to be named after Emmanuel Charlemagne. The entire community through me actually thank you. And we commend you for understanding when Manu Charlemagne was actually a visionary. He was a visionary. He was a philanthropist, worked for a lot of youth, especially in Haiti. He didn't care whether you were white or black for him to really take your side. He used his guitar and his songs, his folk songs, and his ideology to really fight, denounce, and expose injustice wherever it was being cultivated. So yes, Mr. Manu Charlemagne was and still is very relevant, not just in this community, but throughout the entire world. And thank you very much, council members, for your understanding, and we will continue to honor those who have, shown virtues of, helping people as they pass through this world. We'll pass the reports to, I think Mr. Clerk said he has something to say.
Okay, so we're in election season, folks. So we have a lot going on at the clerk's office now. So let me just get some announcements out the way. Our general election is scheduled for May 14th, 2019. Any potential runoff, if necessary, would be scheduled for June 4th, 2019. This is very important. The qualifying dates for our upcoming elections, for any persons who's interested in running for office in the city of North Miami, are from Monday, April 1st, 2019, through, I guess, Monday or Tuesday, April 9th, 2019, at 12 p.m. noon. So it's from April 1st through April 9th, 12 p.m. noon sharp on that day. Immediately after that time, that 12 noon deadline, we have to send documents over to the Miami Supervisors of Elections so they can get ready to start working on the ballots, which is very important. Our early voting dates for this upcoming election will begin on April 29th, which is a Monday. Monday, April 29th is when our early voting begins, and that's at the North Miami Public Library. And we all should know the address, but it's 835 Northeast 132nd Street, North Miami, Florida, 33161. When a candidate is qualifying, April 29th, and it would end on May 12th. April 29th through May 12th. Okay. Candidates who want to qualify for office, we have roughly 4 seats that are up. We have the mayor's seat that's up. We have the city clerk seat that's up. We have Council District, I had it here, Council District 1, Council District 3, and Council District 4. So we have 3 council seats which are up. We have a mayor seat that's up, and we have a city clerk seat that's up. Council District 3 would be a special election on the same ballot because, as we all know, Vice Mayor Bien-Aimé resigned. He submitted his resignation last week sometime, and there's a special election to fill that seat pursuant to our rules and our charters.
Can you make a correction? Resign to one?
Of course. I'm sorry. That goes without saying.
Things.
Yes, he resigned to run, and he followed all the Florida statutes, the rules, the regulations behind that. Now, this is what's important for the candidates who want to qualify. To qualify to become a mayor or to run for mayor of the city of North Miami, you're going to have to come in with 2 checks at least. Both checks must be signed or signed from the campaign account. It can't be a cashier's check. It cannot be a personal check. It cannot be a money order. It needs to be a check that is issued from your campaign account. That is state statute, state law. There's nothing we can say or do about that. The qualifying fees in the city of North Miami is 5% of the salaries. So the mayor makes, his salary is $59,880, according to what we were last told. 5% of that is $2,994. So that first check that is drawn from a campaign account, it would be made out to the city of North Miami, and that check amount to qualify for mayor is $2,994. The second check that's required is an election assessment check that's required of us from the Florida legislature. This is the Florida law that's decided to force municipality. When we're hosting our elections, candidates must pay for certain fees, and it's called the election assessment fee. That check is made out to the election trust fund, and that is only 1% of the salary. So again, as mentioned earlier, the mayor's salary is $59,880, so that check would be $598.80. And again, this is just for public notice. Anyone who have additional questions, you come talk to us, and we have the answers for you when it comes to qualifying. I just want to make sure that we make it clear to everyone so that there's no confusion, because qualifying is it's basically around the corner. A council member and a city clerk, their salaries are the same. Council members and city clerk makes $47,910. That's their salary. Again, the qualifying fee that comes to the city of North Miami for that particular race to qualify is $2,395.50. And that's for both the city clerk candidates and the city council persons candidates. And the election assessment fee, and that check is made out to the election trust fund, which is sent up to Tallahassee. That check must be in the total of $479.10. So when you come in to qualify, you should have two, I would recommend, blank checks that are issued from your campaign account. Even if they're temporary checks from your campaign account, you just put on the top left part, campaign account of X, Y, and Z. You come in with two blank checks when you're qualifying. Just make sure they're two separate checks, because you have to make sure these checks are drawn from your account. Now, with regards to the petition, for individuals who don't want to pay these fees, our city ordinance code requires if you want to qualify by a petition method, you would need 3% of the total registered voters in the city of North Miami from our last general election. It's about 31 or 32,000 or so from our 2017 election, and these are individuals who were registered voters at the time. Either you're running for mayor, clerk, or a particular council seat, it would be a total of 3%. I think the last I checked, the numbers were a little bit over 1,000 registered petitions. Now, those petitions must be in our office by March 29th, 2019. The second the petitions are submitted to us, you have to write a check to the Miami-Dade Supervisors of Election. You have to pay them 10 cents per signature, and that needs to come from a check from your account. And we take those petitions, we drive them over to the elections department, and they verify those petitions to make sure that those individuals are actually registered voters in our city, and then they let us know if you met the required signatures. We need those petitions in the office by March 29th, 2019, because obviously qualifying begins April 1st. So folks, the candidates, I beg of you, don't try to be cute and try to come at the last minute. Don't do it, because as you know, the council have changed rules when it came to qualifying documents. For example, a state ID or a federal ID is required with your address, and it needs to have at least a year there. It needs to be an ID that states that you've been a resident of North Miami or of that particular district for at least a year. Certain lease requirements won't be accepted anymore because the council approved an ordinance that prohibited the room lease, where people are basically renting rooms and homes, and they come in with those lease agreements and try to qualify. The council done away with that. So my advice to the people who's going to qualify, come in as early as possible. I'm going to talk to you about the appointments. You can make an appointment, come in, do not wait for the last minute, so that if there's anything that's wrong, you would have enough time to correct whatever errors. For example, last time we had an individual, he came in with a check at the last minute. Unfortunately, that check bounced, and he didn't have enough time to correct that error. And other people just come in and they don't have the correct documents, they didn't bring the correct ID. If you wait till the last minute before noon to come in and try to qualify, you're not giving yourself enough time to correct any errors if an error occurs. So I beg of you, please, come in as soon as possible to qualify, to make sure all your paperwork are in order, so that there's no confusion, so that everyone who wants to be a candidate, who is qualified to be a candidate, your name would be on the ballot. We just need to make sure it's done correctly and done legally. And so—
are you doing appointments also?
I'm about to mention that right now. Yeah. So the way it's going to work, Gertie and Fonzie are the qualifying officers in the clerk's office. Every candidate that's on the ballot right now, that's candidates right now with the exception of 2, every single one of these candidates have a campaign. You guys have a campaign treasurer report due on March 29th, 2019. When you come in to submit your campaign treasurer report, we're going to give you a qualifying package. That qualifying package is that big yellow package that a lot of people usually get the day of qualifying. We're going to give it to you in advance on that particular date, so that you can have plenty of time to read over the package. Do not sign anything, and we'll explain it to you when our staff hand you that package. You're just going to read everything. You can fill everything out, but every signature needs to be done in the presence of the qualifying officers, because of course the affidavit stating that you lived in the district for a year or lived in the city for a year, that needs to be notarized by the qualifying officers. So the signatures must be done before the qualifying officers. However, you can start filling everything out, just don't sign anything. The reason why we want to do that, we want to give you those documents so you can read them well in advance, so that if you have any questions, you can come in before qualifying, you can give us a call, and we can answer everyone's questions. Now, when you come in March 29th to file your campaign treasurer report, and we give you that qualifying package, we're going to encourage every single candidate to set an appointment so that you can have a specialized time where you can come and qualify. You won't be rushed. So if you set an appointment, we're going to set appointments in 30-minute increments. We're going to give the candidates plenty of time to ask whatever questions to qualify you. Bring in those 2 checks. We would highly recommend that when you come in and we give you that qualifying package to read over, set your appointment to come in and qualify. The reason why that's important is, again, because if you come in, you might have to wait a couple of hours or for a while if you have 4 or 5 other candidates who came in before you and they're qualifying for office. We have 2 qualifying officers. They both got to be in the room at the same time when they're qualifying. So if you want to prevent sitting around City Hall for hours, just set your appointment. Let us know when you're going to come so we can get you in and get you out. And again, if you have questions, you let me know. In addition to what the candidates, so as you guys know, this is our election. So we are responsible for our elections. We do have poll workers, North Miami poll workers training. My office have already reserved the game room for at the Joe Celestine Center, where between April 18th and April 19th, the supervisors of elections, they're going to be conducting the training with us. They're going to start setting up their system at the Joe Celestine Center. And the training will be held between April 22nd through April 26th from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. And that's at the game room at the Joe Celestine Center. And this is why this is important. For candidates who want to see how the poll workers, these are the individuals that are in the rooms that are conducting our elections, if you want to see how they're trained, if you are concerned about anything that is said by the Miami Supervisors of Elections, because don't forget, they're conducting the training on our behalf. It would be a good thing if you're at that training so you can see exactly what the poll workers can do and what they cannot do. So if you have poll watchers and you think that a poll worker is doing something that is unacceptable, at least your poll watchers can complain and to get to the bottom of it. So if you are a candidate and you want to be part of that training, you just want to see how they're training the poll workers so that you can know what's expected of them, just let us know. We can make sure that you can be part of that training so that you can see firsthand what they're told that they can do and what they told that and what they can't do. So don't forget, those dates are, the training will be held from April 22nd through April 26th from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. and that's at the game room at the Joe Celestine Center. And they're going to come in between April 18th and April 19th to set up their equipment and systems. So candidates, you are encouraged to attend. And Mayor,
Will
that
those
concludes-
dates be posted on our website?
Say that one more time.
Will those dates, will they be posted on our website?
No, they
No.
the poll watching dates?
Yeah.
No, they won't. The
No, they-
qualifying
no, they
dates
won't.
and all that stuff,
Yeah.
because we have the qualifying fees for elections, and we can post this with the information, which tells you the fees and all that good stuff. So we can get this posted on our website. It's just general election information. Because the poll watcher, the poll training is really for candidates and poll watchers. That's not really a public thing, but if you want to come in and you just let us know, and then we'll put your name on that list and tell the county supervisors of elections that's conducting the training for us to make sure that you have the right to go in there and observe. It's a good thing to observe, especially if you are a candidate. And Mayor, I think that concludes. Oh, and look, it's I'm not going to be involved with qualifying candidates because I filed to run for a particular special counsel seat, District 3. So for that reason, I'm not qualifying any officers. I am in fact recusing myself from any qualifying related matters regarding the clerks. I know the governor of Georgia decided not to do it. He supervised the same election that he was running in. I'm not going to do that. I'm literally, because I'm a candidate for Councilman District 3 seat, I'm just recusing myself. Nothing by law says that I have to, but I want to make sure that we have clean, impartial elections without any biases. But I'm still available to answer any questions, and I've answered questions to even my potential opponents. I've answered all their questions. So if you have any questions regarding what I said, you can talk to Fonzie, you can talk to Gertie, who is the supervisor of election. I think this is the third election Gertie is supervising, because she took care of the special election bond election. I'm still available to answer any questions to anyone, but just understand, because my name will be on the ballot, I'm short of a miracle from God, I will not be the supervisor of this election. Gertie Genose would be the supervisor of this election, and she will be assisted by Francie Daniels. And last but not least, our canvassing board members, who's supposed to be members of the council, who's not on the ballot, unless they want to get involved with the elections. And unfortunately, every single member of our council is either on the ballot or they're going to be involved in the election. So the canvassing board members are as follows: Gertie Genose, Paola Pierre, Raphael Patron, and Marlon Martel, who was a clerk before, a city manager before, a councilwoman before, all that stuff. She is our alternate. So we have a very good set of qualifying officers. Again, if you have any questions, you can call us to the clerk's office at 305-895-9817. You can personally call me on my cell phone. My cell number is 954-548-1511. And I'm available, my staff's available to answer any questions that you may or may not have. And Mayor,
Quick
that
question.
concludes my
Quick
report.
question.
Come on, Pierre, Mayor, really?
It's
I
going to
just
be
talked
3
too long?
members plus an alternate.
That's correct, Mayor, Vice Mayor, that's correct. All right, that concludes my
I want to
report, Mayor.
make put on record a appointment that I recently made. Do you remember that we have this what do you call it, sea level rise committee that we just put together? We were charged to appoint one person each.
Do you remember how do you call that board? Huh?
So I'm appointing Jamil Pierre, Jamil. Is it MIL? That's the way you spell it? Yeah. He's on. We said that we want to get people who actually have a good, solid background, either in engineering, architecture. You an engineer, right? Yes. Certified. Yes. All right.
And work for Acorn. Right?
Hmm?
And work for Acorn.
It's for the sea level rise. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it's through us.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the Van Allen Institute.
Van Allen Institute. Yeah, that's the. So you already got all the information, Mr. Pierre? You got all the information?
She's Natasha.
Oh, okay.
Mayor, there's no vote on that. From what
No,
I'm so it's not
okay.
going to be on our minutes or anything. That's something
No.
that's administrative. Okay.
All right.
All right, so I'm good, Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Attorney?
I have nothing, sir.
Mr. Manager? Yeah.
No report, sir.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned until next time. Thank you very much and have a nice evening.